Hello, everyone.
Welcome, everyone. Hope you're excited for a fun program. It's 5 o'clock. Oh, man.
I think it's going to be the quickest biscuit recipe I've ever seen.
It's going to be great. I love it. It's either going to be perfect or we're going to have, but that's okay. The gravy will make it all work. So, yeah. Cool. Should I jump right in? Is it cool? You want to start?
Yeah.
Sweet. Let's do it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Awesome, guys. Welcome to another episode of Chef Look Cooks. Tonight, we're going to do a little bit of a Thanksgiving leftover vibe with a nice little side dish thrown in as well that you can use for the day of, or just to use it from some leftovers that you might have from the actual meal. Just heat them back up again and then glaze them. You'll have a whole nother taste sensation. So we got some pumpkin biscuits, a sort of classic white gravy with black pepper that we're going to do with some turkey bacon. And we're going to use, in this case, we're going to use chicken fat, but you could use turkey fat for your gravy, and then a nice little Dijon glazed roast Brussels sprouts and butternut squash. So without any ado, we're going to jump back into it. As per usual, I've got my mise en place in place, everything in place. That's what that means. So I got all my ingredients right in front of me, all of the things I need to cook, all my utensils, all my bowls, literally everything I could possibly need. Almost guaranteed I'm going to have something missing, but if I only have one thing missing, that's going to save me a lot of time. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in. First thing I'm going to do here, I've got my oven preset to 450. I've got 475 because I know my oven is a little bit wonky. And we're going to get our veggies in there right now to start roasting as soon as possible. So we're just going to go ahead and start cutting those up. I'm going to start with this butternut. With the holidays coming, you guys are all probably going to have to do quite a lot of this. I'm going to show you my technique. I used to work at Morning Glory. I had to do this quite a lot. So this is the way I always do butternut. If you follow this, I think it's pretty much the easiest thing. I like this peeler personally, and you're going to hold it. Don't cut anything off yet. You want to peel it first. So hold it with the stem or the whatever that's called in your hand. You're going to kind of roll your wrist as you pull pieces off of the bottom here. You're basically just trying to follow that groove and spin it as you go, as you get all of that beautiful skin off. So we're just trying to skin basically the bottom there. We got that all done, nice and easy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do nice long strips from the bottom all the way down. And the reason we don't just do this for the whole thing is that this bump here makes it really hard to get a whole strip from the top to the bottom. So if you do the bottom first and then you do these flat pieces as strips, you're going to end up with just a much cleaner product. You're not going to have to go back and fix as many holes. This peeler does not have good penetration. So some peelers will take a little bit more off, this is really nice, because we're saving quite a lot, but it also means we're not getting super thick strips. And so I'm having to go back a little bit, but that's okay. There we go. Get that groove finally right there at the end. Perfect. Then we'll just clean up the top here a little bit, make sure we get everything. We probably won't need all this butternut anyways. We only need a pound, but this was the most pretty butternut I had seen. So this one's a local one too, which is really nice. I always love trying to use some local produce whenever I can. Go ahead and put those in the compost. My chickens don't like butternut skins, unfortunately. There's a lot of things they don't like that I feel like most chickens do. But anyway, so now we got this peeled. We're going to go ahead and try and get the seeds out. So we're going to have the fat end first. You want to hold onto this for as long as possible. So we're going to hold onto that. We're going to go ahead and cut the bottom of the fat end off. Then we're going to go up here. We're going to cut just above the lip where it comes in. If you cut too far down, you're going to cut into the seed pod, and we don't want to do that. And then you're going to just flip this around and cut the top off right there. So that's all the pieces that you can't eat or don't want to eat, at least. And you can eat them, but some things are very tough. Then we're just going to take this and we're going to cut it right in half and reveal those beautiful seeds inside. I like to use just a normal spoon for this. And you want to start at the top here and sort of put the tip of your spoon in and then go all the way around till you get to the bottom. Cut the bottom through to the other side. Again, scoop to the top. And if you do it right and you've had some practice like me, you get it all out in one piece. So again, you're going to start at the top, tip of your spoon. You're going to work your way around, then through the bottom like that, all the way around to the other side. Scrape that side as well. And if you're lucky, you get most of it in one piece. Just a couple extra seeds there, but that's okay. Perfect. So that's a butternut breakdown. Pretty easy, pretty smooth. We got some Brussels sprouts going in this as well. Gonna want to get a nice large bowl so we can toss these up in some oil before we put them in the oven. And we're gonna cut them up. For the sort of bulb side of this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do it kind of like an onion. We're gonna cut some strips into this, like this, and sort of turn it as we go. So this obviously falls apart a lot easier than an onion. Onion would kind of stay together, but we've got basically strips. And then from there, we're just gonna lay those all out, and we're gonna try and cut about like an inch cube. You know, again, if you want to cut the Brussels sprouts first, so you have a better sort of visual cue. My Brussels sprouts are fairly medium sized. You want them to be about the size of half a Brussels sprout, just so they roast about the same speed when they're in the oven. And again, I don't think we're going to use this whole butternut. Again, it's really only, you only want to do about a pound at a time. I'd say a whole butternut's probably closer to about 2 pounds. So, you know, if you're doing that and you're cooking for a lot more people, go ahead and just do, you know, 2 pounds of Brussels as well. You probably need two sheet pans. And then for the neck here, we are going to cut this all up just because you might as well. For the neck here, I usually like to do 3 cuts. So 1, 2, 3. So we cut it into 4 pieces. So you can start in the middle if you want. That really does help with the measuring. You want to try and go straight down as much as possible. And then again, on the sides, go ahead and cut those down in half. So you get 4 fairly equal planks. I was never super great at keeping it straight, but that's okay. What that also does is it gives you 2 nice flat surfaces to work on. So then from this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut this into about inch by inch sticks. And then from the stick stage, we can go ahead and cut our cubes that are going to hopefully match the rest of what we cut. And I'm going to go ahead and cut all of these so I can get a nice, I got a nice long knife here. So once I get them all cut, I can turn them this way. And we can cut them all into cubes all at once, get them nice and lined up. And we're just going to get them away from the edge of my board. We're just going to go through there, hold them all together. Again, I have nice big hands. Feel free to do this one at a time. It's definitely a lot safer, but I'm used to having to cut up so many of these. So it's just kind of my method, and always keep your fingers out of the way, especially with slippery stuff like this. So we're going to go ahead and probably just put like half of that in there. Yeah, I don't want to waste too much, and we'll put the rest of this just to the side for now. Really good thing, you can throw it in some like chilies or for breakfast, you can put it in with your breakfast potatoes. It's a nice little sort of sweet add-on for that. And then we're going to jump into our Brussels sprouts here. We're just going to get about an equal amount. Take out any of the really big ones. I tried to pick these out so that they'd all be the right size. That seems about right. I think again, I got a little bit extra just because I was feeling a little crazy. But that should be perfect. Awesome. Just a couple left in there. Some of the big ones. All right, so then for these, it's pretty easy. You're just going to dissect them right down the stem there. If they have a loose leaf, you want to try and cut on either side of that loose leaf so you don't just have a piece of leaf sort of hanging out. And that's going to hold the leaf onto the stem and make sure you've got some nice double pieces here. Usually it's the wide way. Brussels sprouts kind of have they're sort of an oval shape. So you don't want to cut them the long way here because that's usually going to be cutting a leaf in half. If you cut it across the wide way, you're almost guaranteedly going to cut right in between the leaves and everything's going to stay right on, which is nice. That's what we want. So just going to rock these. And if you're feeling kind of fun, you can line them up and do 2 at a time. But I always find that ends up slowing me down more than anything else. The thing that really makes this easy as possible is if you're working out of a bag or something like I was, you want to get them out of the bag as soon as possible. Get them onto your cutting board. What that means is you're going to be grabbing from a closer place to you, and it's going to speed up your process a lot more. If I was reaching in a bag every time I wanted to do this, it's not going to take that much time, but we're talking, 2 minutes, 3 minutes on a whole dish like this, especially if you're cutting more than this on Brussels sprouts, it's going to keep adding up. And, during the holidays, those minutes start to add up, and all of a sudden you're late for lunch, everybody's yelling at you. So this is a nice little method. Just save you a little bit of time, save you a little bit of strain on your elbows and shoulders as you don't have to move as much. Anytime you're in a kitchen and you can move less, you are saving yourself time and energy, and any kind of long range cooking, what is the word, cross country cooking, like Thanksgiving dinner. A little bit of strength saving is gonna go a long way to just enjoying your time more. So cool. We got these halved up, got my Brussels sprouts going. I think my oven smells like it is almost at temp. is indeed. We're gonna go ahead and put these in there. So that's about equal parts, and you can kind of just mix it up a little bit, make sure it looks right, it looks good. Beautiful colors in there, absolutely. Love it. And so we're doing our first little audible of the day. I'm gonna put some duck fat in there instead of olive oil. Recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm gonna use 2 tablespoons of duck fat to roast it. I'm also going to use some duck fat in the glaze when we take it out. So we're just putting some salt and pepper on here as well. Pepper is gonna be a very sort of everywhere flavor in this dish. It's gonna be very, very strong in our white gravy that we're making later. So I'm not really afraid to put it in with these veggies as well. And then to coat these, we're just going to sort of toss them away from ourselves. This is a method I really like for if you've seen any of my grilling programs, sort of a similar thing. You just want to rotate the bowl every now and then. You're basically tossing away from you. Whoops, I missed. Tossing away from you, and then as it gets up the side of the bowl, you just kind of want to pull it back towards yourself. You don't want to go too crazy. Take some practice on it though. It really is a useful technique. It's very similar to like a pan flip if you want to do that, something you do for like an omelet or something if you're flipping it. And the bowl is a really helpful way to get that practice in. So that's nice and ready to rock. We've got a whole bunch of delicious duck fat on there, salt and pepper, and just a touch of salt. I didn't really want too much, but we're not putting any in the glaze, so at least I probably won't. So I figured I'd salt the veggies. And those are a little bit crowded. I don't really like how close they are, so I think I'm going to grab another sheet pan here and just go ahead and take some of those off of there. Give them some nice space to breathe. That's going to get them much more crispy, and it'll make it so our butternut doesn't get soft before it's cooked. So spread those out, pop them in my oven. I'm doing middle and bottom rack, and then when I rotate them, I'm going to go to middle and top. I'm going to put the middle one on the top and the bottom one on the middle, and then we'll rotate it one last time when we put the cranberries in, and we'll go back to the bottom and have the biscuits in the middle. All right, so I'm going to just reset this because that's how my oven works. All right, cool. So that's the first thing done. Veggies are in the oven. We are ready to rock. So let's make some biscuit dough. Here we go, guys. This one's going to be fun. So biscuits are pretty basic, honestly. You could really just make them with water, flour, and butter. You don't even actually need the butter, although it's really important to getting a good rise on them. You're going to have sort of a triple acting rise here. We're going to have butter in between the flour layers, which is going to make it rise. We're going to have baking powder and baking soda. That's going to make it rise. I'm going to set my timer real quick. Awesome. And then yeah, so we're gonna have baking soda, baking powder, and butter. All of those things in the dough are gonna cause it to help to rise and make some hopefully really fluffy, really delicious biscuits. So let's go ahead and get this rocking. I'm gonna start with some flour, as all good biscuit recipes do. If you're feeling really lazy, you can just get self-rising flour. That's like what it's for, really, is making biscuits. So we got a cup and then 3/4 cups. So I've got some 3/4 cup measure here. So a cup and 3/4, so that's 1, 2, 3, amazing. I got some brown sugar here going in there as well. And this is pretty standard business for any kind of biscuit. You want to get all your dry ingredients together. It's usually just flour, sometimes sugar. This is a sweet biscuit, so this is my 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Do like a light pack. You don't want to pack it too heavy in there. For this, it's a sweet biscuit, so we're putting sugar in there. But a normal, biscuit would just be the flour. So we got flour, sugar. We're gonna put our leaveners in there now. So that's baking powder and baking soda. I didn't even open this baking powder yet. Amazing. So that's 1.5 teaspoons. So I've got a 1/2 teaspoon right here for the baking powder. And most baking powder nowadays has a nice little lip on it that you can level it off on. So 1, 2, whoopsies. 3/2 makes 1.5 teaspoons. Put that away. And then we've got a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And the baking powder is a single act, or sorry, baking soda. Baking soda is a single act rise, and that's what's going to give us most of our rise right at the beginning when we're kneading. And then the baking powder is going to give us most of our rise while we're actually in the oven, mixed with the butter, creating sort of air pockets in there. So the butter is going to give us our flaky, baking powder is going to make it rise in the oven, and baking soda is going to give it that rise when we add the wet ingredients. That's going to immediately react with the acid in the pumpkin and give us a lot of bubbles. And so let's check our ingredients. We got the flour in there, brown sugar in there, baking powder in there. There's a little bit of salt in there. It says half a teaspoon. I'm just going to put a little pinch. This doesn't need too much, just to make this sugar kind of pop. Baking soda. So let's go ahead and mix that dry together. And then we're going to cut in some butter here. So you can use a fork if you want to. I'm going to use my hands just because that's easier for me. I got big hands. I can get quite a lot of butter going on. But I don't like to put a whole stick in there. I feel like it kind of is just a lot to deal with. And while you're doing this, you can break up the different clumps of brown sugar that are probably in there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my butter first. By that, I mean, I'm going to literally cut it with a knife. So we're going to go ahead and take it out. When I used to do biscuits in a restaurant, we would cut and freeze our butter, and then we wouldn't even cut it in with our hands. We just mix it in, and that would make some really, really big air pockets. But for this dough, it's going to be a little bit of a different dough. So we're going to actually cut it in, but you want to cut it into some nice long sticks here. And then from the long sticks, you're just going to cut little tiny cubes. And this is going to make it so much easier to cut in. What you're going to do with your hands here is you're going to put this in the flour mixture now. We're just going to sprinkle it in there. And you're going to go find those little cubes. And you're going to smush them with your fingers. And as you do that, it's going to get cut into the butter. And it's going to start to coat itself in that butter. Oh, that's unsalted butter, 100%. Anytime you're baking, almost anytime you're baking, it's unsalted butter. The recipes we were sent out, but they're also going to be up on our YouTube page. And yeah, they should have been sent out like right before you got the link for the Zoom class. But they'll be up on the YouTube page when we post them as well. And then, yeah, just to go back to unsalted versus salted butter. Salted butter is usually used in more of a kitchen aspect, in a dish that maybe you want to season, maybe you're searing steak or something like that. But personally, I always use unsalted butter. If you need salt in a dish that is requiring butter, you can just put the salt in. Using salted butter means that you have officially given up your agency and how much salt you want in that dish, because it's going to be how much butter you put in. So, unsalted butter for me is the go-to every single time, even if I am doing something that wants salt. And then for biscuits like this, there's already salt in the recipe. We don't need more salt. So yeah, pretty much anytime I say butter, it's unsalted butter. Again, for me too, I am kind of on a low salt diet, so it's even more helpful. And so you can see I'm just sort of cutting this in. The recipe says to do it until you get sort of fine grains of sand. We're going to probably stop before that because, let's be honest, we don't need this to be like fancy schmancy biscuit. I love it when there's like a little bit of like butter pocket in a biscuit and you've like baked it up and you crack it open and there's like a little melty bit. And that's not going to happen if we make fine grains of sand. If we do fine grains of sand, the biscuits are probably going to rise perfectly, which is going to be awesome. But for me, I like that kind of surprise when it's in there. But you'll if you guys are doing this with me, what you'll see is your butter will start to sort of put in the dough, and the dough gets a little bit easier. It almost kind of stick together a little bit when you hold it, and that's because the butter is now sort of incorporated into the dough. We've got little bits of flour around little tiny bits of butter. It's going to make a really, really nice rise, and it's going to make a really, really nice biscuit. And this is looking pretty good, I would say. As you guys can see, there's definitely some chunks in there, but not too many. And like I said, the chunks that are in there are going to make a really, really nice sort of melty inside. Maybe just a little bit more. Don't want to find any too big pieces. And what you can do too is you can kind of just like sift it, and that'll find you all the butter, and then you can just sort of grind them up in your hands. But this looks pretty dang good, I would say. So we're just gonna make a little well in the middle where we're gonna put our weft, kind of like if you're making pasta. Beautiful. Gonna get this cutting board out of the way because we are going to need a flat surface here. Awesome. All right, so we got pumpkin and buttermilk. Buttermilk's a fabulous thing. It's a side effect of making butter. You beat up cream until the fat solids come out. What you're left with is a really beautiful, really acidic bit of buttermilk. Absolutely amazing. Some people like to drink it straight. It is a really cool sort of side effect of cooking. All right, and so we want a third cup of buttermilk. So that is my third cup. Sweet. Third cup of buttermilk. Pop that right in there. I'm gonna put a little bit extra. This pumpkin's pretty dry. I mean, it's not that dry, but it's definitely drier than I was anticipating. If we had made this ourselves, it would have been a lot soupier, like if you roasted the pumpkin and blended it up. So I'm just gonna put a little extra buttermilk in there. I just got a feeling it's gonna need it. All right, and then 3/4 cups of canned pumpkin. So we're just gonna go in there with our 1/4 cup there. There's one. Now, again, you can roast this yourself. Right now I know there's kind of like a pumpkin shortage, but There's a really beautiful Hubbard squash you can get at local farms. That is, honestly, it's better than pumpkin. It's sweeter, it's tastier, and you get a lot for a very little amount of money. So, there we go. 1/4 cups of our pumpkin. Again, I'm just gonna put a little bit extra in there. Can't really hurt too much. You don't want to put too much extra liquid in there. You're going to end up with something that is not going to be biscuitable, but just a little bit should help. No problem. I'm going to go ahead and take a fork here and just mix that pumpkin into the buttermilk in the center. And as that happens, we're going to slowly start to incorporate the flour off the edge. Beautiful. And soon we will have a biscuit dough. Very excited. And we might need to add some more liquid in here. We're going to see how it looks. I might need to add some more flour. Adding flour is going to be easy. That's going to be something we're going to do on the cutting board or on the table as we need it. Actually, this is looking almost perfect. And I can see some of my larger pieces of butter in there, which is going to honestly be really great. Beautiful. And you don't want to mix it too much. I'm probably mixing this too much already, but that looks great. I'm going to go ahead and get this fork out of there. Get the last bit of flour there in there. Perfect. It's doing good when you can touch it with your hands and it doesn't really stick to you right away. You want to make sure you get all of your dry ingredients that's in this bowl though before you turn it out, because that could be parts of baking soda, baking flour, whatever. So perfect. We got a nice little biscuit dough right there. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a floured surface that we can knead this on. Beautiful. Go ahead and get that dough. Oh yeah, baby. Would you believe that I've made biscuits like this about 5 times in my entire life? I usually do a wet dough because we used to fry them. So we're gonna get this nice and formed up here and then we're just gonna knead. And so there's a lot of different ways to knead. I just like to kind of push on it and then you fold it up over the top and then push on it again. So we're gonna do this about 10 times. We're basically just incorporating it. We're starting to get some gluten going. We don't want too much gluten here because we want a flaky biscuit, but we do need it to stick together. So we're gonna do this about 10 times. You just fold, turn, fold, turn, push. And you could do this for hours if you needed to. And while we're doing that, we're also incorporating a little bit more flour in there, making sure it's not too sticky, making sure that butter is doing its job. And yeah, this is already starting to feel good. It's going to change texture. It's going to be a lot less sticky and it's going to feel a lot better, a lot more like a biscuit. And I think we're there, honestly. Maybe just a little bit more flour on here because we're going to roll it out now. See, I knew there was going to be something I was going to forget. I forgot my rolling pin. I've just got an old wooden dowel for my rolling pin. You can use a wine bottle. You can use pretty much anything you want. So we're going to get this pretty nice and straight if we can, almost like a little rectangle. And then we're just going to roll it out. And we're looking for about 12 biscuits here. So look at kind of your size here and make sure, your size is going to work together. For thickness, we're just going to turn that over. You're basically trying to make a rectangle and then you're going to turn that rectangle, you're going to make a square, you're going to go back into it and you're going to make another rectangle and try and get some flat edges if you can. You'll know it's working right if nice. Oh, that's my oven. My oven's finally at temperature. You'll know you're working it right when it sort of holds together like that. That means you've kneaded it enough. It's not falling apart. Feels nice and strong. We do want to go a little bit bigger than this. Let me make some room for myself over here. Beautiful, looking so good. And the reason you want a rectangle is that you're just going to get more cuts out of it. That's the shape of your cutting board or of your baking pan, right? So hopefully, if you do this right, you'll get 12 right off the bat. And we might not get 12. We might have to re-roll this out and get a couple more out of it. But that is a-okay. Beautiful. Okay, so we're actually going to try and square up these edges here. What we're going to do is we're going to do a technique. I think you guys may have seen it some places on the island where they do a square biscuit. And the way you do that is you just cut it. It makes it really nice because you don't have to re-roll the dough. I just realized I don't have a circle cut. So we're just sort of flying by the seat. And we're going to do a square cut here. So I'm just going to flip this over now that I've got it nice. Do the other side. And we're just trying to square up the sides here. Going to give it a quick little roll out. Make sure it's nice and uniform. Awesome. A little bit wider this way, I think. Perfect. Cut that, square that up right there. We're going to take our cutting implement, in this case, my knife, wherever it went, there it is. And we're going to go ahead and do cuts. So we want 12 here. So we're going to cut 1, 2, and then we're going to do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12. I think that one's a little bit big. So let's just change this cut right here to there. Same here. We're going to cut that one a little bit further this way, and this one as well. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and just cut these. So we're going to have some nice square biscuits. The nice thing about a square biscuit is if you've got leftover biscuits, you can cut them up and make them into sandwiches a lot easier. So that's a kind of a fun little extra bonus we're going to have here. And you're just trying your best to cut these perfect. I got a little piece of brown sugar in there. Beautiful. And so that is ready to rock. Awesome. We're just going to put a little bit of flour on our baking pan, just a little bit, so we don't have direct metal contact. We don't want these to stick, but they shouldn't stick. There's quite a lot of butter in there. We're just going to go ahead and lay those out. And they're not all perfect. That's okay. I'm cooking for myself and my friends. You know, if you're cooking for family, you want these to be beautiful, take the time, get yourself a nice little circle mold, cut them out, you know, re-roll them, make sure that you get them, you know, all the same size if you want to. But honestly, I kind of like them like this. It feels more like home cooking. Awesome. Let's go ahead and get those in the oven. Quick little rinse off here. And I set my timer for 15 minutes for my first turn on the veggies, and we made biscuits and rolled them out and put them on a pan in 15 minutes. So I think that's a pretty good vibe right there. Let's see, where do we, oh yeah, recipes, cool, great, awesome. So this is what they look like before they go in. They're not super tall, but what's gonna happen is that baking powder is gonna activate in the oven, butter is gonna activate in the oven, and we should get them to be at least double in size when they come out. Let's hope it happens. So biscuits going right in, the center rack, whoops. Let me do some movement in here. I'm gonna stir my veggies while I'm in there. Get out of there, biscuits, you're going in the center. All right, so my bottoms, these are looking beautiful. Oh, yikes. Hold on, guys. Classic. I don't know if you guys have a nice little fire alarm like I do, but that thing goes off every time I open my oven. All right, biscuits, get back where you are. Beautiful, get those biscuits in there. Cool, we're gonna reset our oven because it just, awesome. Yeah, I lost a lot of heat on that one. That's okay, it'll recover. Cool, we're gonna go ahead and set our timer for another 15 minutes. Whoops. 15 minutes, the veggies should be done when that 15 minutes goes off. And then we'll just keep them in there probably to keep warm. We'll see if they could take a little bit more or not. But while we are waiting for that, we're gonna go ahead and start our gravy here. So first things first, we need to get our fat. And in this case, we are using turkey fat. If you guys are cooking this after Thanksgiving, hopefully you have some turkey fat left over. When you roast your turkeys and they come out of the oven, you can always there's like usually a fat slick. If you put that in the fridge, it'll get hard. You can actually just pull it off, save that. It's kind of like a turkey schmaltz, really tasty and really great for making gravies, which is what we're gonna do here. So first things first, we're gonna try and render off some fat from our chicken. I bought chicken just because it's like impossible to find a turkey thigh only on this island. So we're getting this nice and hot here, and we're just gonna cook our chicken thighs skin side down. And what we're gonna do eventually is we're gonna actually just pull the skin off and render them down. But I do want some of the meat, so we're gonna go ahead and put those in there to actually cook a little bit. That's probably, they don't sell like small, don't smell like small chickens, so we'll probably just only use that right there. That should get us enough schmaltz as well as enough meat, and then we'll just save this guy for later. Yeah, again, if you're doing this with Thanksgiving leftovers, you know, when you roast your turkey, just make sure you save some of that grease. You can sort of use a ladle if you want to ladle it off of the top of the pan drippings, or you can also just put those pan drippings in the fridge. Fat will rise to the top because it's got a lower density. It'll solidify, and then when it's solid, you can just sort of pick it out and make your job real easy. So we're just gonna keep it rolling here, guys. Check, see if we have any new questions. Looks good, beautiful. And while that's cooking, we're gonna go ahead and make our glaze for our veggies, just because we're here might as well have that ready to rock. It's a pretty easy glaze, but it's worthwhile to just have it ready so you don't have to think about it. When those come out of the oven, we can just put it right in the glaze and be ready to go. So just make sure any of your raw veggies that maybe didn't make it out of the pan, I'm using the exact same bowl I used to toss them in. Make sure this isn't sticking. There we go. Oh yeah, smells good already. Okay, straight. So we're gonna do our glaze. It's a sweetened rice vinegar. So I don't usually use sweetened rice vinegar. I usually like to sweeten it myself. But for things like this, for glazes, this stuff is the best. It doesn't have to be this brand, but you want to get a seasoned rice vinegar. This one says sweet and tangy. There are lots of rice vinegars out there. A lot of them are unseasoned. You want seasoned. Seasoned basically just means there's sugar in there. Sometimes salt, but it's usually just sugar. And that's gonna make it into a sweeter dressing for us, right? You might want rice vinegar just to be vinegar, but classically it's used to dress sushi rice, and that sugar helps to make it sticky. That's what makes it so easy to roll for sushi. So that's why you use a season generally, but we don't always need that. We don't always want season. So yeah, I already got a very good amount. I've got almost a tablespoon of chicken fat just from this little bit of roasting. That's great. We should have plenty for our recipe. So let's see. Our glaze here is pretty basic. It is a tablespoon each of Dijon, and where'd my tablespoon go? You put your mise en place together, and then you throw it away to roll out your biscuits, and you lose your tablespoon. Oh, I got an extra one. All right, so we're gonna do a tablespoon of Dijon. I'm putting my Dijon in first because the rice vinegar will sort of help dissolve that. So tablespoon of Dijon, tablespoon of rice vinegar, and a little extra is okay. And then 2 tablespoons of duck fat. Again, I'm bringing the duck fat in here instead of my olive oil. If you don't like duck fat, if you don't have duck fat, olive oil is going to be perfectly fine, but this is going to add a really, really nice, rich flavor that is going to totally blow your socks off. So if you have duck fat, I got mine online. It is a really, really delicious and healthy alternative to other oils. Cool. I'm just going to check this chicken real quick. Oh yeah, baby. So the chicken is already sort of coming out of the skin. So I'm going to go ahead and just help that along and sort of take my skin off and start rendering the skin separately from the chicken as we cook the chicken here. Beautiful. Get out of there. Come on. Got a little bit of sticking, but that's okay. We're making a gravy here. Little pan stickings are always tasty in that situation. I'm just getting my skin separated off the bottom because like I said, I got a little bit of stick in here, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work. And just getting my chicken into a spot where it can start to cook in that nice fat. Beautiful. Render out my skin. That is what I like to see. Okay, perfect. So this glaze, this is pretty much ready to go. We're just going to whisk this together, get that fat emulsified. It's not a lot of fat compared to like a vinaigrette, so you don't have to strain the fat in like you would with a vinaigrette. There's a lot of Dijon mustard too, so that Dijon should make it a pretty easily emulsified, which it has. So we've got a nice little glaze there. We're gonna put our hot veggies in there. That's gonna liquefy that duck fat even more, and that sugar is going to, the liquid in the vinegar is gonna evaporate from the hot veggies. That sugar is gonna stick everything right to the skin. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. Perfect. Oh, this is looking real good here. What I like to see. Chicken thighs really don't take that long to cook, which is nice. We're just getting those cooked on the bone. And as they start to get cooked, we can always cut them off the bone as well. Skin is off, almost entirely rendered. That's really nice. I might just finish these off in the oven, actually. Pop them on a little sheet pan here and have them finish off in the oven. Give that a little bit more time to render. Beautiful. While we're doing that, we're going to get our turkey bacon out. And we're going to cook the turkey bacon just to get it so it's crispy. We use about 8 slices. Oh, that is. I'll use that next time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Awesome. That's just enough to give it some texture in the actual gravy. We want our gravy to be kind of chunky. We don't want a thin gravy. Classically, if you were doing a gravy in the South, you'd be doing a sausage gravy, and you'd have a lot of different chunks of that beautiful sausage in your gravy. So we're going to kind of emulate that with our chicken pieces and our turkey bacon here. Turkey bacon is going to give it that saltiness, and then the turkey itself is going to, or the chicken itself is going to give it that nice meatiness. Beautiful. This chicken looks good to go in the oven. Perfect. Take that off the heat. And again, this is a step that I'm doing extra today, just because we don't have leftover turkey right now. We just have this chicken. You know, for you guys, this would all be done already. You wouldn't really be dealing with any of this. You'd be sort of ready to rock. Those biscuits look great, by the way. They have started to rise already. I'm very happy about that. Let's go ahead and get our pan scraped here. Get all these little bits of chicken skin off. Ouch. Be careful, obviously, you don't want to get any fat on yourself. And we're just going to finish rendering those. Put this turkey bacon down. Almost perfect quarter cup of fat. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and just take these little chicken skin bits off. Go ahead and get my turkey fat bacon in there. Don't be afraid to sort of load the pan. We're cooking in fat. We already have fat from that turkey, or again, in this case, the chicken. So we're really just trying to crisp these up. And as they cook, they'll release some of their liquid. And they don't really need pan contact necessarily, because there's fat in the pan that's gonna cook them. That's why bacon's really great. You can kind of load the pan with bacon because it sort of releases its fat, and you're almost deep frying, so you don't actually need contact with the metal. So that's what we're gonna do there. Gonna let that start rocking. Get my fork back here. I like to cook bacon with a fork. I don't know if you guys have favorite methods, but for me, it's all about the fork. Okay, get in there, and you can just sort of individually grab them and move them around. So this turkey bacon doesn't have much to it. Oh well. Already got some pieces starting to stick a little bit. That's okay. I'm used to cooking on cast irons, and so you know, whenever I whip out this pan, it tends to be a little bit upset at me. I think it's literally mad at me that I haven't been using it to cook as much. But it works really good for making gravies and sauces. So I usually whip it out when I'm doing that. It's actually gonna have a really nice fond on the bottom. So fond, like a foundation for a soup. That's what you do if we were making a soup. Cleanup as you go. That's always a really great technique for keeping things nice and clean and making your life a lot easier towards the end. I think I'm just going to crumble this bacon in the pan. I'm used to turkey bacon being a little bit stronger, but this stuff is just falling apart as it cooks. So we're just going to go ahead and take this fork and almost make a sort of scramble out of it right now. Not sure why it's doing that. That's okay. We will make it work. Get nice and crispy. Nice little brown edges. Well, the pieces that have edges, at least, they're kind of falling apart at this point, but that's okay. We'll scrape this pan down. It'll look real good. All right, 3 minutes on my timer. That's for the veggies. They should be about done at that point. We'll take a look at the biscuits too. I think the biscuits are gonna need probably about 10 minutes after that timer goes off. right, how are we looking? Guys, smells so good. I'm so excited to eat this right now. It's been a fun job. Oh, we gotta put the cranberries in, so let's get those ready. So we're gonna need about a quarter cup of cranberries. Those are gonna go in right now when this timer goes off on my oven. I knew there was one more thing to do. Just need about a quarter cup. My quarter cup is currently dirty, so I'm just gonna sort of hand it. That's about a quarter cup. We'll go ahead and put that right in with them when they're done. Again, just start cleaning up here. That off the heat for now. I think my bacon is done, which is good. Gonna go ahead and take that off, let it cool. Over here with my chicken skin. I'll probably end up cutting up this chicken skin too, honestly. Beautiful. So I've got about a quarter cup of drippings in there, plus some nice little fond. That's gonna make our gravy a little bit browner than I was anticipating, but that's okay. I like things a little bit more flavored. Make sure you get all that fat out of there. I'm gonna put just a little bit more fat in there, just to make sure I have a nice roux for this. So we're gonna go in with a quarter cup of flour. So it's quarter cup. Generally, roux, you want to do an equal part of fat to flour. So a quarter cup of fat, quarter cup of flour. We're gonna go ahead and whisk that all together. Make a nice little roux here. Oh yeah, baby. And I've got this off the heat just because I know my pan's pretty warm already. And it's gonna be a bit of a dry roux. It's not gonna be something that you'd use like for a mac and cheese. Maybe you're used to that. We are just really trying to get this cooked off a little bit. And we're going in right with our buttermilk. So it's going to be 3 cups. Sorry, not 3 cups. 2 cups of buttermilk. Is it 2 cups? What is it? Yeah, 2 cups. Plus more if we think it needs to be fatter. So we're going to go right in there with that, turning this back on. Nice and slow here. Beautiful. Oh, yeah. Another cup of buttermilk there. Nice and slow on the gravy train. Beautiful. Oh, that already looks amazing. It's brown again. I just am a brown cooker, I don't know how it is, but that's just what it is. Awesome. 4 seconds on that. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off the heat. This is nice and incorporated. It hasn't thickened fully yet. I haven't got it to come to a boil, but it is at least thick enough now and incorporated enough that I feel safe sort of leaving it off the heat here. We'll come back to this. We'll add in all of our stuff once I check on this oven here, but I want to make sure those veggies are in good shape. All right, so beautiful. Let's go ahead and pop those out right now. Oh, they look amazing. Beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and put these together on one tray now that they've got nice and brown. Just spin my biscuits while I'm in here. Those look pretty good. Not too shabby. They got a little rise on them. I'll take it. Go ahead and reset that while I'm out here. So we're just going to go ahead and dump our Brussels and squash together in one tray. They look perfect. They're almost perfectly roasted. And we're going to toss our cranberries in there with that, just to give them a little bit of time in the oven to get warm and plump up a little bit. The liquid that is remaining in these dried cranberries is going to sort of start to boil as it's in that oven, and hopefully get them to plump up a little bit. But these look absolutely perfect. Take a little peek at there, nice little brown edges. And that's just, keeping them in a hot oven and try not to open it as much as possible. That's how you usually get a nice roast like that. These are going back in. Top rack, 4 minutes, timer 4. Awesome. While that's going on, we're going to finish off our gravy here, and hopefully everything's going to come together all right. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and get our bacon back. And we've got some of that skin as well. We're going to go ahead and use that. Might as well get the rest of the grease in this gravy. Can't hurt. So we're going to whisk this guy up, get that going. We're just going to take a knife to this bacon, get it some nice small pieces. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I just went ahead and put the chicken skin in there too, just because it's kind of a similar crispy, flavorful treat. All right, we got some oil over here. We're gonna whisk that, make sure it's nice and thick. Oh yeah, that looks good. Perfect. Gonna take that off the heat. Put a bunch of black pepper in there. I'm probably putting about 2 tablespoons of black pepper in here, but you put in as much as you want. I just really like black pepper, especially in a nice gravy. It's a really tasty flavor. It's kind of spicy, you know. It's one of like the first spices that you kind of, you know, apart from like a capsaicin, you know, hot pepper spice that you sort of run into in your life when you're younger. Maybe you're like, oh, that's spicy. What is that? It's just black pepper, you know. But it's sort of our first intro to what kind of hot spicy things exist in the world. Oh yeah. And I am going to put just a touch of salt in there, just to help those flavors come together. And you'll know you put enough black pepper in there if you can now see a whole bunch of black specks in your gravy. Mine kind of looks like a Dijon, like a spicy Dijon like whole grain mustard right now because there's so many black peppers in there, and it's kind of brown instead of that white that we've been going for. But you know, can't live in a perfect world. That's okay. We make it work. Awesome. Bacon is looking good. We want some nice small pieces. We'll go ahead and we'll grab that chicken out of the oven. I think that's probably done too. We'll pull that apart. We're gonna go ahead and just put this right in the gravy. Perfect. Stir that up a little bit. Oh, yeah, baby. Just so you guys can see. Hopefully you can see. It's a very nice thick gravy right now. We can stop right there if we wanted to, but I think having a little bit of chicken there is really gonna bring the dish together, make it a full meal. You know, you're actually gonna get a little bit of protein in there. And it is like kind of the perfect thickness. I think once you put the chicken in there, it's gonna thicken up. So I'm just gonna preemptively put a little bit more buttermilk in there. And hit it with some heat. Oh yeah, and we gotta always, you gotta taste your food. So while we're here, we'll go ahead, take a little taste of that gravy. Oh yeah, that's good. That's a gravy, baby. That's a real good gravy. And taste the bacon. Oh my God, that's so good. All right, we'll turn that off. Awesome. I'm gonna taste our glaze while we're here. Glaze is perfect. Awesome. Oh yeah, gonna go right in there with those veggies. Get that off the heat. Put my glaze here. The glaze is still nice and together, so that's good. Gonna go in, grab those veggies. Gonna grab that chicken as well. That's nice and done. All right, veggies are going right in the glaze, right out of the pan. Super hot. The heat's going to help for that, to make that glaze actually stick by evaporating some of the liquid that's in that vinegar. Get the sugar to come out. Sugar is sticky. Beautiful. That's nice and hot. Get that out of the way. Whew. And we're going to do the exact same thing we did last time here. We're just going to toss them. The glaze is going to be sticky at first, but as you toss it and as you get it warmer, it's going to start to come right off. Oh yeah, perfect. And start to glaze. I like to do a toss for this just because if I get my spoon in there, I'm probably going to mush up the butternut. Butternut tends to get pretty soft once it gets roasted. Perfect. I'm just going to take a quick little peek at this, try and grab a piece, make sure it tastes okay. Looks pretty good right there. Oh yeah, baby, that's good. Put that over there. Grab a little bit of this chicken here. Be mostly cool. I got some more pan drippings in here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it right in the gravy. No point in wasting them. bring the gravy back over here on the heat. I just got some residual heat here going. And don't need my fan anymore. Don't need my oven anymore. My biscuits are mostly done. Well, they're done, but they didn't rise quite as much as I want them to, but that's okay. Like I said, I am not a pro baker, but they do look pretty dang good. Now let's see if you pack that back on. Let's give them as much time as we can. 5 more minutes. Take a quick little peek at them. Yeah, those are actually almost done. Awesome. Okay, great. So fan is off. Chicken, we're just going to try and get this as much of this chicken off as we can. So I'm just going to sort of cut around the edges there. Beautiful. And some of that is just a little bit underdone, but it's going to finish cooking in the gravy real quick. Again, this is something you don't really have to deal with. You're just sort of cooking. You're using leftover chicken. I'm just cutting along either side of the bone here to get the flanks off. Those are the pieces that are closest, farthest away from the bone, so they're going to be the most cooked as well. And we're just going to chop this up like we did the chicken skin and the bacon. What I'll do is I'll probably just put those bones back in the oven to finish cooking. They'll make a nice little treat on the side. But they're almost done. There's just like a little bit of time they could have used. But like I said, this is going to cook in the gravy. I'm going to put it right back in there, turn this gravy back on, and do its final boil as it thickens with all this chicken in there. So just cut that up nice and small. Just some nice little protein, power-packed pieces. So a nice little piece of gristle. And this is going to sort of make it more like a meal. You know, we don't have to worry so much about just eating carbs and fat. You know, we can have a little bit of protein in there, make it feel nice and healthy. That's going to go right in the gravy here. Oh yeah. Again, you'd be using turkey, but you know, if you like chicken better, you can just do this with chicken, just like we've got here. That is done as well. I don't think we need that anymore. We are rocking, guys. We are coming into home, sliding in. Been making it an effort to try and make this an actual hour-long program instead of my like hour-and-a-half vibes. I think we're gonna get there today. We are pretty much there. So I got this back on the heat. I'm gonna go ahead and just whisk that chicken in. It's a nice, really nice, thick gravy now. Really, really perfect, honestly. I'm gonna bring this to a boil, see what that does as far as the thickness, see if it makes it too thick. I can already tell it's probably going to be just a little bit too thick. So I'm going to put a little more buttermilk in there. I keep adding something that's not seasoned, so I'm going to put just a little bit more salt as well. Yeah, perfect. Okay, there we go. There we go. Awesome. Let that get to a boil. I'm going to get my gravy ladle here. We are ready to plate. These biscuits are going to be super hot, just coming out of the oven. It's going to be an absolutely perfect experience. Oh yeah, you boil in there, good. Want to get a nice hard boil on this. So I'm going to really, really heat it up. Got to make sure we cook that chicken the rest of the way. It's like I said, it's probably cooked at this point, but and then what that's also going to do is it's going to fully set. I've been just barely sort of skirting the edge of boiling on this as I've added more things to it. But now that everything's in there, we're going to go ahead and get a hard boil on there. It's going to make sure all the liquids, all the juices that have been coming out of the chicken and the bacon and stuff are all incorporated and thickened with that flour. And we got a nice gravy. That's done. That's perfect. Oh yeah. Awesome. And as you can see, it's just a nice, let me get a ladle for you. Just a nice thick gravy. We're gonna put that right on top of our biscuits. All right, we got gravy, we got veggies, we got a plate. Those biscuits are almost done. Let's take a quick peek, see what we've got. Any questions, anything to talk about? And then those biscuits will be done and I'll take them out and I'll show you guys what it all looks like together. Pretty happy with the biscuits, I gotta say. I definitely, it's a quick recipe for biscuits. You know, you could take, excuse me, more time, probably do some more kneading. The round cut, maybe. You know, I don't do a lot of dry biscuits. So honestly, I'm pretty happy how they turned out. They're gonna taste really good, that's for dang sure. But you'll see when they come out. They didn't rise quite as much as I thought they were going to. I was hoping for a double rise. They're probably about a, you know, 1.5 or so, but they're gonna be delicious, well cooked. And some of that could be that the pumpkin was kind of thick. I tried to counteract that with a little bit more liquid, but I don't know if that worked against me or not. Baking is definitely not my #1 vibe. I tend to be a little more all over the place, and I enjoy experimenting. So baking tends to be very specific, and that's okay. I was a baker for a long time, but never really made biscuits. All right, beautiful. That timer is good. Let's go ahead and get these biscuits out. You guys can see how I did. Not too shabby, honestly. Not ideal, but you know, so it goes. So you can see we got a little bit of rise there on the edges. Some of that biscuit side coming off, but they're hold on. Classic. Every time I open the oven, I swear. But they're not bad, honestly, you know. They could be better. This one's probably one of my favorite ones. That's the one I'm going to use to plate. It's got that nice little sort of like curve in the middle. But let's see what they look like inside. Ow, it's hot. They're okay. They got some nice layers. If they had time to cool, I think they'd be a little bit better. Oh, they smell really good. There's some decent layering there. I mean, they're not perfect, and that's okay. They don't have to be. I'm just really excited that I made some biscuits here. And so we're gonna do see another nice one here. Yeah, this one's pretty good. We're gonna do a biscuit there. We've got one halved biscuit, and we're gonna go ahead and just sort of like place that on top of it just to create some volume. Let's see. No, we want to do opposites. There we go. Get up there. Come on, baby. They're fighting against me. Ooh, maybe like this. Yeah, there we go. Get some nice vertical on your biscuits. You're gonna take some of this beautiful glazed roasted veggies here, right on the other side. We're gonna have a little bit of sort of white space on our plate, so we're gonna put those sort of to this side here. That white space is where those biscuits are good. That gravy is gonna go. So get those sort of nice, so good, nice together on your plate there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our beautiful gravy here. We're gonna go right over the biscuits, nice big ladle right over the top of the biscuits. And then one more sort of off to the side that's gonna sort of start to like go onto the plate. And then if you've got any little dried cranberries, maybe a little garnish on top of the actual biscuit here, just to sort of accentuate the fact that that is a sweet biscuit. You know, we got some pumpkin in there, so it's a little bit sweet, a little bit of brown sugar. And guys, there we go. Not too shabby. I gotta say, I'm a little upset about the biscuit vibe, but hey, what are you gonna do? You know, I don't cook biscuits all the time, and I do think I did that recipe a little too fast. I think maybe homemade pumpkin would have changed it up a little bit, something a little bit lighter, and then you know, maybe just a touch more baking powder. But honestly, at the end of the day, this is gonna taste so freaking good. It doesn't even matter. So there we go, guys. There's some pumpkin biscuits. Turkey bacon gravy and a nice glazed butternut and Brussels sprouts.
Wow, that looks delicious.
I appreciate
I'm so hungry now.
We did it. We did it in under an hour. That's what I'm.
You have 2 minutes to spare.
I think I got it. I've been going over my methods in my head, and I think I'm usually a little bit more like cook for myself vibe. But when I have a time frame, I can really, you know, I've worked on a line for a long time, so I can get it under there if I need to.
No, you were definitely hustling today.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it felt like I had a timeline, and it felt good to actually hit it. So, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you all coming. Very excited, and don't forget to check it out on YouTube, Edgartown Public Library. This is going to go up on YouTube probably tomorrow, if not within a week. And yeah, rocking. Next month's going to be a lot of fun. We're doing a little bit of tribute to someone who passed recently, but I don't think you're going to be able to guess what we're doing. It's going to be great. Something special out of my freezer. That's all the hints you get. Guys, it's been great. I will see you all next month.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chris.
Bye, guys.